Alright guys, what I'm doing is I'm working on the lawsuit that I intend on filing come, I believe, Monday, January 26th. I'm going to drive to Houston and file this, at least in that week right there before February. Okay, now, as you all know, I've already sent them a letter of demand. Now, at this point, it's not really about the money, okay? What this is about now is going to be exposing UTMB for what they really are, okay? And what they have is sovereign immunity, okay? So let's say the doctors and everybody, and normally I would not be able to bring the medical record into this here situation, but because the police listed it on the police report as one of the reasons for my arrest, that I was arrested because I prevented my behavior, prevented her from getting much needed medical care, okay? Well, if I wasn't there, she'd be dead. I got the medical record, a lot of it I've already copied. They don't know I got, okay? But, I mean, they refused to release most evidence. It's really, really bad what UTMB does. But I want y'all to understand UTMB has sovereign immunity. The doctors, the nurses, all the staff, and there anybody inside the walls of UTMB that are employed by that UTMB, they enjoy sovereign immunity. Now the doctors this month, the professors that are doctors, they say, well, we need to learn colostomy and colostomy reversal. So what can we do? We find somebody that has a condition that will give us an excuse to accidentally on purpose make a mistake. Accidentally on purpose. We have zero accountability. So we need a slate to learn on, and guess what? I'm telling y'all, I got enough in the medical record to prove what I'm saying. Okay? UTMB is garbage. Garbage. They're getting away with it. Okay? It's all about exposing them at this point, not just their police, but their staff, their nurses, and their doctors, everything. All of it. Because now I can bring a lot of truth out. Because of the way what these cops actually did and what they wrote in their police report. Okay, because I could prove that I was the caregiver, the primary caregiver. I could prove that without me being there, she would have died. I could prove the derelict of duty. I could prove the ignorance and incompetence of some of these people. It's written in the records. Okay, but they enjoy sovereign immunity. But nonetheless, I'm working on the actual lawsuit. Now, I want y'all to understand when I tell y'all it's not about the money. Y'all see I don't have a city or a county name there, or a state, or UTMB themselves, because the state, UTMB, they enjoy sovereign immunity. The county and the city does not. Okay, there's a total difference here, okay? Y'all don't understand what's all going on. So I can sue the individual officers. Now let's say these individual officers, they don't have insurance. They don't have insurance like they should. So I win and get a judgment against them. All I can do in the state of Texas, if they own real property, I can put a lien against their real property. I might be able to use the courts and go after garnishing wages and things like that, but that's very, very difficult to do in the state of Texas. Okay? My point is, there's chances is that I will spend $2,000 to $3,000 out of pocket. I'm going to win. They cannot beat me. Trust me. On the unlawful arrest, they cannot beat me. Okay? And the qualified immunity will be pierced. Officer McGee, my pal, her qualified immunity is 100% pierced this Saturday. It's gone, okay? Now, this one right here, it is 50-50. 50-50. I might be able to pierce his because he knowingly and willingly did it after he knew the truth. He was standing right there when I told Officer McGee Powell, when she returned from dealing with my wife, when my wife was telling you fucking pigs, fuck you, hell no, and all this other shit, that I was going to jail for trespassing, retaliatory arrest, because her feelings was hurt and she was pissed off. Okay? Right there in front of this here Hernandez, I told him, he's her supervisor, and I told him, I'm here on legitimate business. At the time that I was given a trespass warning over the phone that was for bogus lies to begin with, okay, I was told that if I had legitimate business there, I would not be trespassing. I could not be arrested. Not to mention I was invited back on top of all that after that little bogus trespass warning was given. But nonetheless, not only was I told by Detective Collins that I could be there with legitimate business, but the lead investigator for the Galveston County District Attorney Office told me the same thing. He's somebody I know. He's a friend from the past. Somebody I know pretty good. Somebody knows me real well. Okay? So both of them told me I could be there on legitimate business, and an appointment with my wife would be legitimate business. I was there on legitimate business with my wife as an appointment, and Officer McGee said no. No. She's the patient, not you. You're going to jail. Without me, she refuses to see the doctor, period. Okay? I can prove that. Okay? And I can prove why. But nonetheless, this here is the complaint demand for jury trial. Now, on the demand for settlement, it's written a little bit different. Okay? I sent them most of what I wrote in the lawsuit, but it's a little bit different in this one. Okay? But you see, I asked here for $5,728. They can avoid being sued by paying me out-of-pocket expenses, and I'm asking $1,500 for my pro se efforts, out-of-pocket expenses for bonds, and the $3,000 that I paid that stupid lawyer when the JP court refused to dismiss the case based on merit of law, trying to cheat me. Okay? Well, this time, with this one, I'm not going to be cheated so much, okay? Because the way JP Court was treating me was because I didn't know the rules of engagement, okay? Y'all see what I got up here, this PDF file? 242 pages. Right now I'm on punitive damages, and I've already read, this twice, and this is the second time going through. I'm going to read it a couple more times before I actually go to court. Okay, and I'm making notes, guys. I'm making notes. Okay, let me just show y'all. I should probably not show y'all this, but I'm gonna show y'all I'm making notes real quick. Okay, come over here. See, 1983 notes. Okay, and this here they want to try to refuse shit. Okay. Okay, but anyway, what I'm doing, I'm making notes of the motions that I'm going to need to file. Everything these pricks want to do, I'm anticipating every step they're going to try to take to try to beat me, okay? So that's what I'm doing there, okay? So, go back to this, okay? This is the actual lawsuit. Again, like I said, it's not about money. Now, if they don't pay me the $5,728, that's $1,500 for my pro se efforts, the JP court dismissed my case based on my work. I gave the lawyer $3,000. She made one phone call and told her she needed my motion for discovery as written. Gave them reason why. And they said, you know what? We're just going to dismiss this case. Because I knew I had them beat. They knew they was breaking the law, prosecute me, but again, your JP court, they got what's called judicial immunity, and it's absolute. They can intentionally violate your rights in that courtroom, and there's nothing you can do about it because you allowed your politicians to say so and give them that immunity. So it's not about the money. If I don't get paid one goddamn dime and I spend $10,000, but I expose what these pricks did, how they accidentally on purpose are allowed to hurt people and get away with it, then it's worth $10,000 out of pocket. Okay, because collecting from these pricks once I get a judgment against them, that's a whole nother story. I might not be able to, but I goddamn 100% sure I'm going to get the judgment. Okay? Okay, so let's just go through this real quick. Jurisdiction and venue. Civil rights action, seeks relief violations, blah, 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 blah. It's under 28 U.S. Code 1331. The jurisdiction of the court can be found. Okay? Just so y'all can read it rather than reading it off to y'all. I'm going through it real nice and slow for you there, okay? Here's the parties, okay? Myself, okay? law-abiding citizen of the United States, long-time homeowner with a homestead in the city of Galveston County, Galveston State, Texas. Plaintiff, Linda Vine, is wife of Mr. Kennedy for over 38 years. Okay? Hard-working, law-abiding citizen, shared long-time homeowner in Galveston, blah, blah, blah. The state police, Texas State Police, UTMB Galveston, post known herein as UTMB Police Department, located at 404 8th Street, Galveston, Texas. Now, they are not a defendant in the case, but they handle the evidence, okay? They are in control of the evidence along with UTMB Legal Department Affairs, and I have sent them a letter of demand with all of them because the letter of demand states that they have to preserve the evidence, which I'm already knowing 100% they are not going to provide me with the evidence. So first I'm going to ask for Rule 26, motion for discovery. I'm going to file for sanctions under Rule 34. And I believe it's Rule 36. I've got to look it up again and remake the note because I left it out. But there's another rule in there where, you know, once I ask for sanctions and everything, you know what? Because they refuse to provide the evidence, the jury has to take it that the evidence they refuse to provide is against them, and that's why they didn't provide it. Which, by the way, guys, I asked for all this evidence for my trial for trespassing. My trial for trespassing was dismissed due to unable to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Why? Because once I filed for my motion of discovery, UTMB refused to give the evidence even to the district attorney. Okay? Why? Same with that prosecutor, Ted Moore. Okay, in the court after my rights were violated, when it was all over, under his breath, the judge looked at Ted Moore. I was just fixing to walk out. He said, "Why didn't you give this evidence to Mr. Kennedy?" And Ted Moore told the judge, he said, "Your Honor, the state refused to give it to me." What do y'all think about that? But he refused to dismiss the case against me until I paid a lawyer $3,000. Then, within 48 hours from the time I fucking paid that lawyer the $3,000, the case was dismissed on my work, okay? They kept sending me a letter telling me just plead guilty and pay $393, pay $393. That's the problem with the feelings being enforced today and feelings becoming law, because too many of you pricks will pay them their $393 rather than fucking the $3,000 to beat the goddamn case. They knew it was a First Amendment case, but they fucking refused anyway. The judge actually told me in open court, this has nothing to do with the First Amendment. By God, it does. It does. Okay? At any rate, I went along and named all the defendants, state police supervisor, Hernandez, blah, blah, blah. Each and all the acts of defendants alleged here and committed defendants while they're acting with the scope of his or her employment, UTMB Galveston Police Department. All acts committed to these defendants were committed by the defendants in spite of their knowledge that the actions committed are unlawful, unethical, unconstitutional. They committed them anyway, knowingly, recklessly, intentionally, wantonly, callously, purposely, sadistically, and cruelly. Okay, in the preamble right here, and you know, some of y'all might even recognize some of this, you know. Pretty soon C.J. Grissom gonna recognize that right there. That's the preamble. Factual allegations, official pressure, and malicious prosecution, retaliatory arrest, kidnapping, and assault. Okay. Now, right off the bat, defendant Officer McGee Powell did in fact unlawfully and intentionally assault plaintiff Mr. Kennedy with the threat of the violence of arrest for nothing more than speaking in a strong, deep voice by stating, "If you do not lower your voice, I am going to arrest you," clearly violating plaintiff Mr. Kennedy's God-given right to even speak in his natural tone of voice, violating Mr. Kennedy's right to free speech. Mine. Okay? On October 4th, 20, probably year, blah, 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 blah. It's going to go off through everything that was done here. Y'all can freeze the screen and actually read this if you choose to do so. Okay? Now, after the gross trespass robbery lesson up to this point by defendant Officer B. Powell, okay, because see, they entered the exam room, okay? We walked down the hallway after she told me in the hallway when she come up, I hugged Officer Zamino, and there was Officer Powell, McGee Powell there. She says, well, I was called here for a disturbance. I had walked out of a counselor's office where we had been sitting there talking, and I'm talking in the same tone of voice I am right now. Okay? And this cop said, well, I was called here for a disturbance. So I told him. I said, man, I asked them, why would they call me here 2 hours early to have me sit there and wait 2 hours while they bring those in that came in an hour after me before me? Why would they do that? They didn't have a good answer for me. So all they wanted to say was, sir, if you don't lower your voice, we're going to call the police on you. So I said, you know what? Call the cops. I ain't committed no crime. You can't tell me I can't speak in my own normal tone of voice. Are you stupid or what? At that point in time, a counselor was standing right there, just the other side. She opened the door to the back, and she said, y'all come here with me into my office. And she took us back there to the back into her private office. The police came up there. As the door opened to that private office, we stepped out. There was the police. My wife stepped on the scale. I hugged Officer Zamino. McGee Powell said, well, I was called here for a disturbance. So I told her, I just told y'all. Sir, if you don't lower your voice, I'm going to arrest you. Well, now, things have changed because you can't arrest me. You can't even tell me what you just told me. You're out your fucking mind. Now you are the police, and you're supposed to be fucking protecting everybody. Not just the motherfuckers that got sovereign immunities getting away with intentionally hurting people. Now I got a problem with you. Things are totally different. I can cuss you out, and there ain't a goddamn thing you can do about it. So I told that bitch, fuck you, and fuck you again. That's why I went to jail. Nothing else. Okay? But there by the fucking reception area in the private hallway where my wife was on the scale, after I told that Officer Powell, I said, fuck you. The nurse said, come on, let's go down to the exam room. So we walked down to the exam room. Me and Linda walking to the exam room with the nurse, Officer McGee Powell, and Zermino stopped at the door. And I looked at Zermino and I said, you know what? She can come in here. You cannot, Officer McGee Powell. Zermino did not move to come in. She stayed there. Powell ran all the way over there to the computer where my wife was at with her body cam, getting all the information off the computer. Zermino stepped through the doorway and stayed there at the doorway pretty much. Powell went over there and made sure she unlawfully identified everybody, got all my wife's information. Now she has intruded on a private medical encounter on top of everything else. So at this point in time, I told Officer McGee Powell, you know what, man? Fuck you. You're just a clown wearing a clown suit. Okay, I'm redressing my fucking government. You know what? You're fixing to be placed in the cuffs. I'm going to arrest you. I like wearing my clown suit. That's right, I'm a clown. I like wearing my clown suit. You got some ID on you? Okay? One of those situations. Now fuck you, alright? Piggity, pig. Fuck you. You know I have nothing but respect for you motherfuckers. But you cannot come tell me I can't speak in my own normal tone. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. I have nothing but love and respect for you, and I would back you the fuck up. But now I think if I see one of you getting fucked up, I'm going to sit back and laugh at you. Fuck you. Okay? Now let me show you what they also did right here. 22. Look at number 22. Okay? Go on down in here. Outside of Miss Bennett, Defendant Officer McGee Powell returned where Defendant Officer Zermino had Miss Bynum detained. At this time, Officer McGee Powell grabbed Miss Bynum by the hand, physically assaulting her and ordering Miss Bynum back into the exam room. So the doctor, who Miss Bynum is deathly afraid of, due to a botched surgery in a bad side manner, Dr. Joseph Sunstein can examine her now without her husband, caregiver, and advocate being present. The one she chose and refused to see the doctor without being present, they're now trying to force her back in. Okay? Yep. While attempting to physically force her to do as told. Now actually physically assaulting with unwanted touching and violating Ms. Vine's rights to feel secure in her person. Her right to due process of a caregiver advocate of her choice being present, and her right to refuse and pick and choose medical care. Now, Officer Zamino, that is the only thing that Officer Zamino is actually guilty of right there, other than telling me that I ain't allowed to shake Dr. Sunstein's hand on the way out the goddamn building when I'm leaving voluntarily under my own fucking free will without resistance, and I see him in a completely open room to the public. I walk in there, shake his hand, tell him, gonna have to reschedule, gonna be able to see you this time. When she tried to tell me I couldn't shake this man's hand. Later on, she came to me off the record and told me she was sorry. She didn't know I was shaking his hand till she got to the window and seen it. Okay? She hollered that shit to me down the fucking hallway, trying to be a jackass. Now, after Ms. Vine successfully resisted the physical assault, again, like I said, I'm rewriting this. It's a little bit different to the one that I sent them as a letter of demand. It's the same, but worded a little bit different, okay? So I'm going to go a little bit further yet. I think this here is about where I'm getting close. Once again, I informed them right here. Contract form was issued over the phone. Both informed Mr. Kennedy could not be arrested. Mr. Kennedy was not their legitimate business. Now, when the lawyer had first read this at the courthouse, when I was showing him all this, what happened, because y'all can look up the paperwork I filed on the cases dismissed, which the numbers to the case is going to be in here. Y'all can look it all up. It's a matter of public record. All my pro se efforts and all of it, it's in there, okay? So, on my pro se efforts, I was letting a lawyer read it, and he said, what, David Simon was there? No, David Simon is a personal friend from the past. I went to his house and told him what was going on, man. So this freaking nurse come to my fucking house lying on me to begin with, telling a bunch of goddamn lies, saying I said shit that I didn't say. Retaliate for the fucking videos that I made showing their derelict of duty, and y'all can watch those too, okay? She came here, she was actually naming off some of the videos that I had played. And then next thing I know, when she left, I got a call from Detective Collins, because he had my phone number and all that good shit. And he asked me, was it true? I said, no, that ain't true. I said, that's a damn lie. Detective Collins said, look, man, I'm a police officer. My job is to protect everybody, you and them. He said, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you a trespass warning. Don't come to UTMB unless you have an actual legitimate reason to be here. Do not come here. Okay? If you're here with an appointment with your wife, that's an actual legitimate business reason to be here. Now, for the record, if there was somebody up there in UTMB that I wanted to take out, I would not use a gun. A gun is just, I mean, if y'all knew my skill with knives, oh, you'd know. I wouldn't use a gun. Those that know me know my skill with knives. The police know my skill with knives. They watch me. Okay, David Simon, I'm pretty sure he knows it. He knows I'm very well versed in the martial arts, regardless to what Manny Reyes Jr. wants to say with his 10th degree black belt, that he might get choked to death with if he ain't careful. Okay? But I digress. But when it comes to court, if I can bring it all out, you're goddamn right. I want all of it to come out. I want it to be able to be proven that they intentionally, on purpose, accidentally on purpose. It's accidentally on purpose so they can get a learning slate. And then come time to do the reversal, I can prove the lies that they told too. Huh, Linda, did they lie to you on the reversal? Yeah. Because they had a student picked out for you to learn on you, did they not? And what they told you would have actually made the success rate a whole lot lower. Is that not true, according to what the actual surgeon that fixed you told you? Yeah. Yep. Yep, so you know what? Let's bring it all into the court. I will tell the truth 100%, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Okay? Yeah. I can prove that the only reason why she's still alive is because I was there. Okay, right here I'm still needing to change it a little bit. Okay. I think y'all got the idea here. This right here, let me so the 5 elements of malicious prosecution. But let me just show y'all this right here, this actual lawsuit that I'm writing right here. Let me review, show y'all what it actually is here, okay? Word count. Right now what I got is 15 pages. I still gotta add punitive damages, ma'am. Punitive damages, compensatory damages for $5,728. I plan on adding $48,000 for 2 days in jail, because even though it was only a span of 18 and a half hours, it spanned over a 2-day period, so I get credit for 2 days. 2 days is 48 hours. The average rate is between $100 to $1,000 per hour, and with everything that happened due to it and the reason why and everything behind it, what could have happened, I want $1,000 an hour for every hour in jail because of what it did to my mental status anyway. Punitive damages I'm also going to ask for, so after I add the $48,000 and the $5,728 and put that all together, I'm going to multiply 1.1. And that's how much I'm going to ask for punitive damages. So we're going to be pretty close to $50,000, okay? So, and I'm going to put it all in there. I'm going to break it down in like a detailed invoice, okay? What I want compensated for. I want compensatory damages right now, just out-of-pocket expenses if they pay it before I file this suit. Once I file the suit, I'm figuring about $650 filing expenses, which I got cash, okay? I've got enough cash set aside to do what I'm planning on doing here, just to get the exposure against UTMB, okay? Yep. But I'm telling y'all, the elements of malicious prosecution even. By assisting in and then continuing the retaliatory arrest. The other two are guilty of it, okay? Trespassing was dismissed on February 6th.